Youthful human beings will be leftward to choose up the draft for environment changing since political community are winding the question, a UK paper warns. By the government must act more rapid to cut carbon sequestration dioxide, Company 2, emissions of way traffic, homes and agriculture, the Board on Environment Changing says. Out of activity, the upcoming general will include to pay lot more than to restrain emissions in a heater planet. By the government says it is devoted to creature a planet lead on environment changing. It will enter its cheap carbon transportation schedule quickly. The advisors are sharply worried at the UK's absence of advance in cut the carbon sequestration emissions overheat the Earth. The board says the UK done a nice begin in the force production, but emissions intermittent include efficaciously stalled in the history 5-year. Members say it will be lot more profitable, for copy, to start a stable transition to electrical cars now rather than to include to raise the technique in year to go. Environment changing torment female more than 2017, warmest year out of El Niño, a manifest to rescue Earth, land, or ourselves, with 2012, 75% of emissions intermittent include go of force. Renewable energy include proven far more profitable rather than nobody mind. By the government has prohibited subsidies for coastal breeze, although analysts say how will add to power billing. In supplement, communities include been taking into account the say as to if they can go front or no. The tool how fair a few objections are necessary to unit the advance of breeze projects. But the board says coastal breeze and sunny will be though more profitable rather than flaming gas for power in the 2020s. If he's discarded in a garbage dump, meal and factory question will rot and build methane, that contributes to environment changing. Councils include been request human beings to individual meal and kindergarten waste management of general waste management. Currently, companies are more hard to seize methane of meal waste management and gear it to do helpful biogas. But following a nice begin, emissions intermittent are stalling. Manufacturing fertilizer emits hothouse gases. And so does propagating pet manure on the fields to assist cereal increase. Farmer machines contaminate. And cut timber for agriculture is problematical for the environment too much, since trees absorb up Company 2. By the government says it will assist more than farmers fight environment changing. Human beings are purchase greater and more severe cars. By the government remote the gas responsibility stimulus for cheap pollution cars, so now a Porsche can be taxable at the identical bet as a pure Toyota Prius. Which is more than, anxiety on contamination of diesels has displaced several drivers to gasoline cars. They build less than contamination but more than hothouse gases. The board says turnover of electrical cars and install of charge points are both of too sluggish. Receive human beings to isolate their homes to rescue ruinous warmth is a big problem. The board says isolation rates in homes are 95% reducence of grants intermittent. It wants ministers to urge how all new homes are null carbon. We as well include to begin experiments on a big scope in fact breathtaking the CO2 gas of production and store it in rock subterranean, it says. The board says portion of the issue is how liability for cut emissions is break among different by the government departments. They don't all see dealing environment changing as a key precedence. But a representative for the UK by the government told, we've tested ourselves to be planet leaders in dealing environment changing, cut emissions more rapid rather than any some G7 nation and making recording levels of low carbon sequestration power. We're sure of cut emissions through the broad economics to encounter our carbon sequestration budgets time capturing the economical opportunities of pure increase. Human beings devoted to individually dealing environment changing can escape flyer and consuming flesh, two of the largest source of hothouse gases. They perhaps go or loop instead of take the car, and they try to isolate their homes or rotate the heater downward. They recirculate too, but how perhaps helps less than in the environment rather than lot human beings believe.